Stop putting women on a pedestal. If you want to find the right girlfriend or life partner, if you want to have a relationship on eye level, then you have to view yourself on the same level as her. In the first part of this video, I want to talk to you about why you can never place women on a pedestal. And in the second part, I want to talk to you about why it's actually a good idea as your consciousness progresses, as you move further in your journey of dating and relationships. You should actually place her on an even higher pedestal. Two seemingly opposing paradigms, but it actually makes sense, and how we're going to talk about it in a minute. So first of all, let's talk about the obvious disadvantages that come from placing her on a pedestal. The main one is you're not going to be able to express yourself freely. If you would place her on a pedestal, if you see her as so much better than you, oh my God, she's so beautiful, she's so amazing, why would she even want to be with me? How are you supposed to be able to communicate your personality authentically, effectively, confidently? Remember, she needs a man who's free in his expression. She wants you to appreciate her, of course, but if she feels that you're looking up to her, she's not going to be able to look up to you. She needs a man who's so grounded and relaxed in his own identity that he can make her laugh, that he can crack her up, that he can bestow a sense of groundedness and peacefulness onto the situation. If you place her on a pedestal, you're not viewing her, you're not seeing her for who she actually is. You're portraying, you're projecting a false ideal, a false artificial ideal onto her, and that ideal then becomes the tyrant. You're not actually seeing her for the person that she is, for the flawed human being. You know how people like to rate each other on a scale of 0 to 10? Women might say, oh, I dated this guy, he was a 9 out of 10. Men might say, oh, this woman, I saw her, she's the perfect 10. Doesn't exist. Human beings are flawed. I'm flawed, you're flawed. And even though objectivity, when it comes to beauty, is absolutely real, facial features, bodily features, symmetries, that's all real. But perfect doesn't exist. But what you're doing when you see this person that you're in love with, and it isn't actually love, what it really is, it's a sensation of a crush, it's neediness. I need her, I want to be with her. Desire, wanting is perfectly fine, neediness really isn't. So if you see this person and you portray her as this perfect, false, artificial ideal, you're not seeing her as the flawed human being she actually is. There's a lot of things about her that you might discover later on that aren't actually as amazing. Maybe her values aren't aligned to yours. Maybe her personality, maybe the way she likes to engage in social interactions isn't quite the way you'd like her to. Maybe politically, maybe religious, maybe, I don't know, she didn't shave. Whatever your personal preference may be. There's a lot of things you might discover about her later on that would take her down from the pedestal. Now, most men, oftentimes, if they actually, by chance, end up in a relationship with a woman they previously placed on a pedestal, which doesn't happen a lot, they lower her later on as they find out these common things about her. Or another thing is makeup. Maybe you've seen her with a whole lot of makeup on, but the next morning, when you happen to wake up next to her, if you manage to get to that point, which a lot of you guys do maybe 3 or 4 times every 6 months, you realize, oh wow, she's still really beautiful, but not like perfect. Because we're all orienting ourselves towards Instagram or magazines. And these women, they look so perfect, so flawless. They're photoshopped. I love these images. Or some women who I hugely respect on TikTok, they post 2 comparisons, 2 pictures. One of them looking absolutely and utterly gorgeous in the perfect pose, and then they adopt a slightly different pose, and all of a sudden you can see the skin on the side of the hip might not be quite as perfect. The boobs might not be quite as perfect. The ass might not be quite as perfectly round. She's still gorgeous and stunning, but not perfect. So there's a lot of ways for you to just understand she's a human being. The simplest reason as to why you should never place her on a pedestal is because you won't be able to get her. You can only have what you're willing to lose. You can only have the caliber of woman that you're willing to lose. And you might say, David, why would I want to lose her? I want to be with her. I don't want to lose her. But if she doesn't feel that you're perfectly okay with this going absolutely nowhere, if she senses the slightest bit of neediness over the course of the interaction, she'll immediately get turned off because she wants a man with options. That doesn't mean that you need to be going out there dating all of these options in front of her. That's not what this means at all. This is not some pickup artist nonsense. But she wants a man who chooses her from a variety of different options. She does not want a man who can't get any better than her. If she feels that you think that she's the best you can do, she'll lose respect for you. Your value in her eyes get lessened, and thereby attraction is decreased. So in order for her to be truly attracted to you, to stay attracted to you over the course of a really long time, you have to be absolutely and utterly free in your expression. And you can only do that if you see her as a human being who is amazing in a lot of different ways, but also just not perfect. But you don't even have to go into the why, just understand it doesn't work. Stop placing her on a pedestal. And this nice little technique in NLP where you literally take that person, because an interesting thing is, if you think about a woman right now that you're actually really excited about, that you would like to have in your life, where you might be thinking, she's out of my league. Think about her for 2 seconds. Okay, open your eyes again. Where do you see her? Do you see her behind you, to the right, to the left? And most importantly, close your eyes again. Think about that person. Think about her. Do you see her, and open your eyes again, do you see her higher than you, on eye level, or lower? Most of the time, most men report that they see her either a little bit higher than eye level or a lot higher. And what happens is, if you change the submodalities, if you change your internal representation, and visual being one of them, of how you see that person, that in turn can change your emotional reality. Because you might say, David, well, that's cool, I mentally understand it, but I'm emotionally not there. When I have this beautiful woman in front of me, or even just like personality-wise really exciting, then I get flustered. I don't have that core confidence. And while confidence is something that goes a lot deeper than this, making this little change of literally taking the image of her and pulling it down onto eye level. Do that little experiment right now. Think about the person and literally lower her onto eye level. Don't bring her lower, because we don't want to look down on people. We want to be respectful. We want to have relationships on eye level. But if you look at her right on eye level, that should create even a subtle change, even if it's just a 10, 15% change in your emotional experience in terms of how you relate to her. That's already worth it. There's a million more of those techniques that you can go out and find and research. Apply for a free initial consultation call if you'd like to. Use paid resources, use free resources, do whatever you have to do. But that's a really powerful technique. So, 1, don't put women on a pedestal, because it's going to destroy your dating and relationship success. But now, when you're in a relationship with a woman, you should absolutely place her on a pedestal. Even in the dating process, you should place her on a pedestal from the perspective of appreciation and gratitude. You should absolutely view women as beautiful, magnificent beings. They're the most amazing thing about life, in my opinion. What's more beautiful than a woman who can give birth, give life, do all these amazing things? 50% of the population. From a spiritual perspective, you should absolutely place them on the highest pedestal. You should serve, protect, care for, love, tease, create emotional experiences with her. That's absolutely something you should do. But the problem is, if I tell you that first, you should love women, you should be respectful, you should appreciate her more. That doesn't work. You should first learn to not place women on a pedestal, and then later on you place her on a pedestal from a point of appreciation once you've developed core confidence. Once you've learned to freely and confidently express yourself in relation to hugely attractive women from a personality standpoint, as well as from a physical standpoint, then you can raise them up in terms of appreciation. Then you can do gratitude exercises and really understand how blessed you should be to be in the presence of such a beautiful person, inside and out. But first comes relationship on eye level, and then you realize, as Tony Robbins says, that a relationship is a place where you come to serve. It's a place where you come to give, not to take. But that's the second level of consciousness, the second level of evolution. In the beginning, you have to learn to build attraction. In the beginning, you have to be fun, playful, maybe a little bit overly confident, because women simply like it. They love it if a guy's a little bit overly confident. Not arrogant, not disrespectful, not lying, not manipulation, not deception, but a little bit too confident. They love that. And then you transition into a huge degree of appreciation. I cherish Fernanda. I carry her on both of my hands. Does it mean that I'm not flawed? Of course, we're all flawed. We all make mistakes. I'm not trying to make myself look holier than the Pope. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm still working on myself. We all got to work on ourselves. But I have huge appreciation for her. I place her on a pedestal. absolutely, trying to catch the camera right here. It's a little bit windy here. I absolutely have huge appreciation for her. But in the beginning, she felt that I didn't need her. I didn't make her better than who I am. I understand that my self-worth is the exact same as hers. And if I have to act a clown, if I have to act a fool, if I have to try really hard to impress her, she's not right for me. She felt from the beginning that I was willing to walk. Not because I was making it obvious or I was threatening that, she sensed in the way I communicated it, and because I paid attention to the best practices of attraction building. She realized, well, this guy probably got options. But I always had an appreciation for her. There always has to be respect. So, in the beginning, take her down onto eye level, not below you. Be super respectful, but understand your own worth. Understand who you are, where you're going. Write down 20 reasons what you can contribute to the relationship, things that are unique about you. And then, once you're grounded in your worth as a man, and once you're seeing her for the truth, not this false artificial ideal that you've projected onto her, which is what happens, as we talked about, when you place her on a pedestal, then you want to actually put her on the highest pedestal and appreciate her and understand that this woman that you're sharing your life with is the most amazing gift you could ever experience. Fernanda is the single greatest source of joy in my life. Obviously, my friends, huge source of joy. My mission, my business, my clients, huge source of joy and inspiration and motivation and aliveness, of course. But the person that I share life with on a daily basis. I come home every day and I'm like, Daddy's home. And she goes, Daddy, it's a fun little ritual we have. It's absolutely and utterly fun. You have to understand that in the beginning, you've got to ground yourself in your own value and then create even more appreciation for women than you already had. But one step at a time. I sincerely wish you all the best.